Well, we are now at that moment in time. The last week of the regular season, week 17. And you've still got several playoff spots up for grabs. You've got divisional races up for grabs. So should shake out to be a very, very interesting week. And here I am to provide you with one more regular season set of game picks. Yippity skip. Make sure if it's the first time checking me out that you smash that subscribe button. Smash it. Smash it. And we'll see how I do this week, because week 16 was a bit of a, like straight up picking the winners, the easy stuff. That was 12-4, so that's not bad. You're just picking winners, though, so what does that really mean? But still 12-4 is 12-4. Against the spread, though, 7-9. And admittedly, last week, since it was Christmas week, I had recorded my picks video much earlier. I had not spent a lot of time focusing on making any choices, doing any analyzing whatsoever. I just largely picked, and that's it, and didn't go very well. So for the season to date, through the first 16 weeks, I'm 163-77, picking straight-up winners, 129-112 against the spread. So at least I'm way over 500 picking the winners and over 500 against the spread. But week 17, any number of things can happen. And that even includes, like, you could have two teams that are fighting for their playoff lives and one of them absolutely doesn't show up. You could have a situation or situations happen where one team has everything to play for, the other team has nothing to play for, and the team that has everything to play for totally screws the pooch and loses. We saw that happen a couple of years ago in 2018, week 17. The Vikings was a win-in-their-in scenario. The Bears, once it became obvious that the Rams were going to win, the Bears had nothing to play for, and the Vikings still couldn't beat the Bears, and they missed the playoffs. So it can certainly happen. So you look, I think the NFL did a really good job doing the logical thing here of trying to pair as many games together as they possibly could that had dependencies in terms of playoff stuff. They couldn't do it all. But, they certainly did it with, like, Chicago and Green Bay and Arizona and LA playing in the late afternoon spot. So was Seattle. So I thought they did a pretty good job. Probably also the safest decision was to go with Washington and Philly on Sunday night, because whether the Giants or the Cowboys won earlier, like, Washington has to win the division. So that's probably not certainly going to be the best matchup on Sunday night, but it's probably the safest one where you feel like you had at least one team playing for something. So let's go ahead and take a look at my picks, starting off with the early Sunday, the 1 p.m. Eastern kickoffs. You've got Miami traveling to Buffalo to take on the Bills. The Bills can't get the 1 seed, like that's already determined. You're playing, maybe for seeding at this point, if anything else. Miami's got to win to have a shot at the playoffs. You're not going to have Fitzpatrick, apparently, because of COVID. So now it's truly going to fall onto his shoulders. And I wonder if this is where Brian Flores and the Dolphins pay a little bit of a price for not sticking with Tua in some of these tough spots where maybe Tua they didn't feel was playing so well, or that Tua wasn't giving them the best chance to win, because now in week 17, you can't use the crutch of Fitzpatrick. Fitzmagic's not going to be there. So maybe you should have stuck with Tua after all. I like the Bills in this matchup. Give me Buffalo minus the 3. You got Baltimore traveling to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. Baltimore's got to win to be able to make the playoffs. That whole scenario with the AFC. Like, it's crazy. You could have 4 teams in the AFC go 11 and, that are all kind of in that same mix right now for those wild card spots. They all go 11-5 and one of them misses the playoffs. Like, that's nuts, but it certainly could happen. You got Baltimore traveling to Cincinnati. This is a little bit of a danger game for the Ravens just because the Bengals recently beat the Steelers on Monday night. But it feels like the Ravens have figured things out. They're playing much better football. It's a divisional game, so they always worry about those a little bit. But I think the Ravens should be able to handle business. They've got to win here, so give me Baltimore minus the 13. You got Pittsburgh traveling to Cleveland to take on the Browns. We'll see who the Browns actually suit up on offense. Cleveland's an 8.5-point favorite. I like Cleveland here. I'll take them minus the 8.5. Minnesota travels to Detroit in a game nobody really gives a shit about. Minnesota was favored by 6. Both of these teams give it up at this point. I'll take Detroit for the hell of it. Detroit plus the 6, just to be a little nuts here, because who cares? It's week 17, and nobody cares about that game. You got the Jets traveling to New England to take on the Patriots. The Jets now, winners of 2 games, have cost themselves the rights to the #1 overall pick, but maybe the worst thing in the world. There's going to be more than one really good quarterback in this draft. That's all I'm saying, Jets fans. It's not all doom and gloom. Although you got to admit, that team had really set out to tank for 3+ months, and then they screwed it up. Jets gonna Jets. I'll take Patriots -3. This is going to be the featured game plastered all over Fox. They're going to pretend like this is the only game that matters in the early slate of games. It's going to be Dallas and New York. How the hell these two teams are still in a spot to potentially win the NFC East in Week 17 with losing records? That division sucks, and I hate that these two teams are going to be in the featured spot, but they're going to be. Give me the Cowboys -1, because if the league can still find a way to backdoor the Cowboys into the playoffs, they certainly are going to do just that. You got the Falcons traveling to Tampa Bay to take on the Buccaneers, who have already clinched a playoff spot. I do like Tampa to win here, but give me Atlanta to cover the 6.5-point spread, because I think they're going to try hard and compete against the Bucs on Sunday. And then we go to the late games on Sunday. Raiders and Broncos, who cares? Raiders are favored by 2. For the hell of it, I'll take the Broncos +2. I've got Jacksonville traveling to Indianapolis to take on the Colts. Look, at the Bears beat the brakes off of them last week. I don't see why the Colts wouldn't beat the brakes off of them this week. But maybe the Jags will sit there and actually try to win, because now they've cinched the #1 overall pick. But I'll take the Colts -14. Got the Chargers traveling to KC. Chargers are 3-point favorites, because the Chiefs are going to be resting and sitting a bunch of folks. I'll still take the Chiefs to win +3, because what the hell, why not? You've got New Orleans traveling to Carolina to take on the Panthers. Interesting late development, though. Apparently, Alvin Kamara is going to be on the COVID-19 list, so he will not suit up on Sunday. I still like the Saints to win this game, as they still have something to play for. They need to win in order to have a shot to be able to get that #1 seed and the first-round bye and home field advantage throughout, and they're going to want that. So I think New Orleans will win, but I think Carolina will try and play them close, so Carolina +7. Tennessee travels to Houston and takes on the Texans. The Texans are done. Tennessee -7 all day long in that one. Then you look at the most relevant matchups in this afternoon slate of games. You're probably talking about Seattle and San Francisco. I like Seattle -6 here. They want to make sure that they have a chance to still get that #1 seed, and they have to win in order for that to happen. And then you've got the Cardinals traveling. You got the Cardinals traveling to the Rams, and the Cardinals are 3-point favorites, but it looks like it's a battle of backup quarterbacks here. This is a really hard game to pick, because who knows what the hell is going to happen here. But the Cardinals absolutely know that if they don't win this game, their season's done. Whereas the Rams could sit there potentially and say, we want to win. A win would absolutely clinch it, although if we lose, we at least still have a chance to make the playoffs. I worry about the Cardinals here in this spot, because I think they're a little more dependent on what a Kyler Murray can bring to that offense versus what a Jared Goff can bring to the Rams offense. But the Rams will also be without Cooper Kupp, who is on the COVID list himself. Jared Goff, of course, with the thumb surgery. I will pick the Cardinals to win -3. Which brings me to the Green Bay-Chicago game. Yay, the Bears are playing the Packers in Week 17 again. History probably bound to repeat itself again. I mean, if you really look at this matchup and you analyze the game, even if you try to throw out what just happened about 5-6 weeks ago between these two teams when the Packers absolutely destroyed them, and they were up 41-10 at the end of 3, where's the advantage here? The Bears are still going to be missing multiple starters out of their secondary. Jalen Johnson's out, Screen's out, and I think Deion Bush might be out as well. So you're missing multiple starters out of the secondary. This defense has underwhelmed this year, underperformed based off of the investment that's there. And that's, of course, all thanks to Chuck Strong, Chuck Pagano. He's managed to take a defense, a unit with elite-level talent, and make them be average. That's a special kind of suck, and that's what Chuck Pagano is. Offensively, Bears fans are buying into the renaissance of Mitch and the renaissance of this offense, and that they found themselves all of a sudden. Yeah, they found themselves playing some really, really terrible, horrible defenses the last 4 weeks. Let's keep that in perspective. And even when you want to talk about last week's game, the Bears, for all intents and purposes, should have only had 10 points up on the Jags at halftime. The Jacksonville Jaguars literally gave them field position to get a field goal. It was so blatantly obvious the Jags were tanking. They didn't even try to hide it. So how much can you really put into that? Now, you're going to have some Bears fans that will sit there and say, well, Bakhtiari's out for the year now with his torn ACL, and that's a really tough break for the the Packers, and a fortunate break for the Bears, because now Khalil Mack, and maybe even Robert Quinn could do something in this game, and they could create some havoc off the edge. But the Packers went without Bakhtiari, I believe, a couple of games this year and didn't do that bad. So, they still have Aaron Rodgers. And now they have two running backs that look like that they could dice this defense up. And they have Devontae Adams, who the Bears can't defend. And I just look at it and I say, okay, the Bears' offensive line and pass protection could have some trouble against the Packers' edge rushers, even though the Smith brothers haven't had the same great year that they had last year, this year. And at the end of the day, it is Aaron Rodgers taking on the Chicago Bears. Why the hell would you think the Bears are going to win this game? There's absolutely nothing from a matchup standpoint, a statistical standpoint, a recent history, past history standpoint that indicates that the Packers will do anything other than go into Soldier Field and win this game in a runaway. Because for them, it's very simple. Especially with New Orleans and Seattle playing at the same time, the Packers don't have the benefit of being able to scoreboard watch and creep and look and be like, they're going to want to do everything they can to make sure the Bears don't get into the playoffs, because Aaron Rodgers is a petulant penis like that, and that's fantastic. And as far as them, they've got to win to ensure themselves the number one seed and a first-round bye, and I'm sure that they want to get there and want to do that. They want to have the road to the Super Bowl go through Lambeau Field this year. So you got Aaron Rodgers in a big spot in a win to cinch a first-round bye, and you think the Bears are going to win this game? Yeah, give me Green Bay -5 all day long. There's just no rational, logical reason that the Bears would even be close. They'll be lucky to keep this within 2 touchdowns. And then the Sunday night game, you got the Washington football team taking on Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles. Yuck. That's a shame. It's a crime that this has to be the Sunday night game. But it is. Washington will be in a spot where this is a win in their in game. I think Philadelphia will win. Even if Alex Smith does play, this is a win in their in scenario. I like Washington to kind of gag up a little bit on Sunday night here. I like the Eagles to play spoiler and then either put the Cowboys or the Giants in a position where they're going to win the NFC least and they're going to get the first round bye. So I'll take Philadelphia -2 on Sunday night. Sorry, Washington fans. Don't be mad at me. Because remember, at the beginning of the season, I actually picked your team to go to the playoffs. So just let's take it easy a little bit. But let me know what you think about my picks this week. Let me know what your picks are. You see any shot of the Bears actually being able to beat the Packers? Who do you think is going to get into the playoffs? Who do you think is going to be left on the outside looking in? Again, smash that subscribe button. We'll see what happens Sunday.